Hey, it's Christina from Studio SE. I'm going to show you how to make a stereotype accessible on your diagram palette. In Cameo, I've created a stereotype that I've named component, and I have a customization for the component which has been inherited from the block customization. If I want to add a component onto a BDD, I don't have it immediately accessible to me in the BDD palette. That's what I want. If I want to add one to the diagram itself, I can either create a block directly onto the diagram, and I can refactor it to the stereotype that I've created. So that's one way. I can also add one directly in the containment tree itself and then drag and drop onto the diagram. So that's a couple different ways that I can add it to the diagram. That's a little bit too labor intensive for me. I want this to be easier. What I can do is add an attribute directly to the customization itself. So I'm in 2021, so sometimes this doesn't pop up on my screen. I'll try a couple different times. There. I can add this attribute called place on diagram palette. I'm just gonna name this. And I can choose the diagram I want it to display on. For diagram type, I'm going to choose a SysML block definition diagram. Automatically, Cameo puts it underneath this common package. If I look at this profile diagram, I can see that common bar right there. I want it to actually show up in the BDD palette. So I can go ahead and expand this block definition diagram package, and I'm going to drag my component down to underneath a block. Now that's where it will end up appearing on the palette. I'll click OK and close. Now something that, if you notice too, when I created component A and component B, the little icon that popped up is actually the icon of a class. If you see here, component is a class. Same with block. Block is a class. When I see the class icon, it just it doesn't really stand out to me. I want to be able to tell what my component really is when I'm adding it somewhere. And I can change the icon by doing it directly in the stereotype itself. We'll see this row that says icon, and I can go ahead and I can choose a pre-populated icon that Cameo has provided for me. So why not? I'm going to choose a server. You can also add your own icons as well, but that's for another time. So now I've added that nice icon there. I'm going to save and exit and reload my project for this to really take place. There we go. Now if I look in my containment tree, the icon next to my components has changed. That stands out a little bit better to me there. And if I were to create another component directly in the containment tree, I can easily see it with that icon that I've chosen. Now as well, I have this accessible to me in this block definition diagram palette, and I can add it directly from this palette and onto the diagram. It's much more convenient to do it this way, especially if you want people to use your stereotypes. It's nice to make them easily accessible to them. I hope that this has been helpful, and thanks for tuning in.